I'm Peter. It's Peter on Health Channel. This video is called Tucker Blew Up the Memes. And for memes, I'm talking about Casey and Calley memes. I learned about these two, his brother and sister, from Tucker. And you see the date here, August 16th. What's that? Almost 2 months ago. So I follow Tucker on Twitter, and I saw this in August, it's a 140 seconds. So what's that? A little over 2 hours. I'll put it in the description, like the link for that. The sister and brother like talk, and Tucker doesn't talk much, just ask questions, and so you can learn a lot about these two people. And basically, because they, Tucker got them on, his channel, they blew up. Years ago, I think they got an interview with Andrew Huberman, right? Like on his podcast. But, they were still, not famous. But today I listened to Joe Rogan also, interview these guys, and that's again 2 hours, 2 hours 22, almost, but the same length of. And also in this interview, sometimes Joe Rogan, talks a lot, but he didn't do it in this. It's mostly the, Casey and Calley talking, and you can learn a lot of stuff from these two people, and about health, and about corruption, and in the health thing. Anyway, so you see I'm bouncing here, and I'm on a treadmill, and I mentioned this in a previous video, that listening to, I think it was the Huberman interview of these guys, and I think this is Casey. I think Casey is the sister and Calley is the brother. And Casey mentioned this. I bought this on Amazon, like $100. I bought this, September 4th, shortly after I watched this. I bought their book the next day. You see, August 17th. This is August 16th. I'm like, okay. I bought their book, not because I wanted to learn about it, but I highly recommend you get this book. I mean, it's pretty amazing. And and anyway, just about the treadmill. I think Casey, the doctor Casey, the woman, mentioned, this is just, because we're all like, on our computers, sitting and stuff, and you just get like this 100, thing, and watch this. Like I got like a little controller. So this is like, I think it has 38 speeds, or well, actually 6 to 38, I think it is, right? And this is 10 right now. It's pretty easy. Let me just show you like how fast it can go here. I go there, I'm running now. Let me just slow that down again so I can just talk to you. Let's get it back to 10. But it's cool, when you're listening to something or if I'm reading, typing is a little hard while I'm on the treadmill, but a lot of things we do on our computer, um, we can be on this treadmill and getting our steps in, getting a little exercise. So, and $100, right? And it's, like I say, you just hit this little controller and it'll go as fast as you want, right? And so, I heard that from her. I think her name is Casey, and she suggested, and I'm like, you can get it on Amazon, and I did. And anyway, I bought their book, like I said, and I recommend it. Now, I will say why I wasn't all that excited to read it is just because, well, what does she say here in her book? So I finished the book, and so here's my Kindle. I read it on my Kindle, and she's saying, metrics, are you in the 6.8%? So what she's saying is that there's these metrics, 5 of them, and she gives you the numbers, and if you're within those numbers, you're in 6.8% of Americans who are metabolically healthy. Okay, basically the people who don't need to read her book, and I'm one of those people. And you say, well, how do you know? Well, okay, let's read her. Here's her 5 at the bottom of the page. I'll read them out. Fasting glucose is less than 100. Okay, so let's go to my blood tests, and it was 90 last. I think I explained in a previous video. It's because I took the blood test too late, and so my median, you could see, is 85. Like my 20-year median for that is 85. Either way, they're under 100. The next thing is triglycerides are less than 150. So let's find Is that how you spell it? No, yeah, there we are. What was I at? 67 my last, and my median is 53, so way under 153. HDL needs to be above 40. I was at 57, median of 55, 20 years, so I'm well above 40. Waist circumference. What I have under here is a measure. I hardly ever take it anymore, but in the morning after I have my top of the morning evacuation, then I'll weigh myself, and sometimes I will, do my waist around my belly button, but it's a boring number. It's always 32 inches and a quarter or 32 inches and a half. It varies depending on stuff, right? So, but either way, it's well under 40 inches for men. I'm 7.5 inches at least under that 40. And then the last metric is blood pressure is less than 120 over 80. That's, I think my lower number definitely is under 80. My higher number, sometimes, I have a cuff and whatever I do it. It might be a little above 120, might be a little under, but I'm pretty much good on that blood pressure. So basically, I'm in the 6.8%, what she says, of metabolical healthy Americans. Another way to say it, so at the end of her book, like I say, I highly recommend it. I bought it for my wife, in book form, recommended to another friend who's reading it in audio form. It's amazing. And the punchline of her recommendations are, here we go. well, that's the way she does it. But she has like these 25 recommendations at the end of it. So, yeah, create a food journal and start. She has a questionnaire, and I'm good at that. But I just wanted to show you the, where is it here? Action. Do, 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 do. Here it is. Good, yeah, good energy habits. And she has 25 recommendations, like of what you should do. So, for number one is eliminate refined added sugars. And I've been doing that for a decade. Um, and the idea is like you score out of 4 on that. And that's like, you don't have to think about it even. It's just your habit, and I just do it. And yeah, that's, hell yeah, I've been doing that. Eliminate refined grains. Yep, I've been off American wheat for 2 decades. And make my own sourdough bread, right from the seed. Einkorn, and now I realize I can use even American wheat, and it doesn't impact my glucose because I've had a glucose monitor, like a continuous. What's the 4th? Eliminate industrial seed oils. Yeah, that's like canola and all those seed. So I take olive oil, sometimes avocado oil, and then coconut oil, sometimes lard. Anyway, this is, there's 25 of these, but it's not all food. I mean, it's exercise, meditation, like, a lot of toxic, things, in your life. Anyway, like you see 25 things and you can score out of 4 on them. Like, is it just part of your habit in your life? And so before I read this book, I would have scored somewhere around 80. You know what I mean? And so here I am. I'm part of the 6.8% of Americans metabolically healthy. And on the habit she recommends, I'm like already scoring 80 out of 100, right? Like, where I'm doing everything in this toxic world to be healthy. But did I learn something? Yeah, I'm walking on a treadmill here. I wouldn't have bought it if I didn't hear her say it. And in, if I'm 80, I'm like, I want to score 100. So yeah, there is a few changes I'll make based on the recommendations in the book. So yeah, even on the margins for me. Like, for example, like my wife sometimes buys beer, and I don't really want her drinking it, and I tend not to drink alcohol, but like, so I'll have a beer like on a hot day. And something I read in this book, let's see if I can find uric acid. I thought I had a high number on it. Yeah, 1 of 1. Let's see, what is it? 5.1 is my median. I thought I had a high uric acid. Maybe it was not on the. This is. I don't know. Anyway, what she said, in her book, is that beer can bump your uric acid, and so I thought I had a high uric acid somewhere in a test somewhere. Maybe it was, with my local doctor, and I realized from this book that if I drink beer near that time, I have a shitty uric acid number, right? So, but also I just don't want to drink beer, so I'm trying to encourage my wife not to. Part of the reason I wanted her to read the book, stop buying the beer, man. And so yeah, it's like, even me, I get value out of this book, and it's because I have had these healthy practices for a few decades. One thing she doesn't. Well, she does talk about time eating, and she says basically, like, it recommends like a 14-hour window of fasting, right? Like, where that means you're eating for 10 hours. So let's say you started at 9, You don't go to 9, you go to 7, I guess, 7 p.m. 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. to 6 p.m., whatever that is, 10 hours of eating, and then the rest of the time fasting, right? Most of that is spent sleeping. And that's as much as fasting she's talking about. And I think I mentioned many times on this channel, I started 5 years ago on a 4-hour window of eating, 20-hour fasting. And within a couple of years, I was realizing that second meal, I was having to force myself to eat. So I just said, what the fuck? And I'll have like one meal, take me an hour to eat it in my belly. I have to undo my belt buckle to to the looser part. And I eat my multi-course meal over the course of an hour, sometime around 10 in the morning. And that's it for the day. And so I tend to fast 23 hours a day. And sometimes I head into Silicon Valley. I live 50 miles south on Wednesdays, and on that day I'll just fast the whole day, unless I bike 50 miles and I'm like starting to dream about food, and then I will eat, later in the day. But last week I didn't bike too far, and I just fasted the whole day. So I went 48 hours without eating anything. So to me, fasting is it fits me like a glove. This is not anorexia. I eat this meal in the morning. It's now 3:45. I finished my meal this morning around, my wife and I did a strength training workout, and I ate, I think 9:30 or so ish, give or take. I finished my meal. So it's been now 6 hours since I ate, and I will not feel hungry till I go to bed. Wake up in the morning, and then I start to think about food, and we work out again. So the 23 hours is trivial for me to do. I don't get like a blood sugar crash, like in the afternoon, or hunger pains, or I'm pangs, or I'm dreaming of food. So fasting really just fits me psychologically. On the health thing, I don't know if it's the cause of it, but I'm 1 month away from 5 years, 5 effing years of no illnesses whatsoever. Forget the chronic diseases that Casey and Calley talk about. It's like heart disease and cancer and this and that. Forget that. I'm talking colds and flus and COVID and this. I haven't been any sick whatsoever, not even a cough, not even a scratchy throat, not even a plugged nose, nothing for 5 years, which is weird. And, I don't know, but I have to guess it's because of the fasting. And what about the fasting? I don't know, maybe something called autophagy. She does not mention the word autophagy in this book. So the closest she talked about fasting was this 14-hour window. I think it's one of her 25 things, right? But and I guess maybe the reason she didn't talk about it is that she's talking to people who are like on multiple medications and obese and just up against it, and that's what they talk about in these interviews with Tucker, Huberman, and now Joe Rogan, and talking about children, like 50% of children are diabetic or pre-diabetic and obese, and it's just horrible what this country has become, and in terms of health. And so this is what my channel is about. And what I've been saying is I've lost faith in doctors over COVID land, that's for sure. I don't believe in health studies. I think I mentioned that in the Huberman, video, where, on something like marijuana, how I can take 4 times the dose my wife takes. She can have a dramatic positive effect and then crash into a negative effect, and I can have no effect whatsoever. And then, I took another dose. I think I mentioned in another, on the Huberman video, where I had a psychedelic experience that was wonderful and awe-inspiring and all that. And I'm sure if she took even a tenth of what I took of that, and I didn't give her any of that, we might have had to rush her to the hospital, right? Like, so is this healthy? Is it not? Well, it depends on the individual, right? And so this is what I'm saying about health, mental health, physical health. It is so individual. It is so individual. And so when I say about fasting and it's easy for me, it might not be easy for you. Might not. And maybe you got to go at it slow, not hard like me, if you wanted to try. Like what she's recommending, a 10-hour window. Don't start with a 4 like I did. But what I'm saying is, this is the whole point of my channel, is like, I'm interested in health. I like data recording. She talks about data recording, right? Like, I mean, she absolutely recommends you wear Fitbit or Apple Watch or whatever, or a Ring, and then track your data, right? Try to, like, see what's working, what's not, and so that's the way I do. Like, so what I'm saying is, I've already been doing this for decades. So do I feel like, oh well, since I've been on it already, like, why are these guys getting all the attention? No, I don't care about attention and all that kind of shit. I'm like living my life and living good. And when I see 2 kids, and I'll call them kids, I'm 61, they're in their 30s, they could have been my literal children. And when Tucker interviews them, and I don't know how Tucker found them, they blew up. And then what the brother said is, because of the Tucker interview, the brother contacted RFK, and somehow he got into RFK's campaign before RFK joined Trump. And RFK is all about health, make America healthy again, right? And so these kids were all about health and getting back healthy the natural way. They became part of the RFK campaign. And then when RFK joined Trump, these kids came along into that, right? And so, if Trump wins, these 2 kids might end up like speaking to the nation about this stuff. And why they are so important is they had the 2 jobs that put them at the center of the industries. She was a surgeon, went through the best medical school, Stanford, was like a top surgeon. He was a lobbyist for pharma, lobbying Congress people. So he knew how that world worked, the whole corruption world. And the 2 of them, like, basically they have, like what's my background? Why can I say anything about health? I can't like them. They can talk about health statistics, health whatever, health studies, health this, health that, biology, metabolic system, all this shit. I mean, I can repeat what they said, but like, I'm not a biologist, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a whatever. I was a computer scientist and a lawyer. You know what I'm saying? So, but what I have expertise on is myself, my habits, and my data. And so I'll just close with saying, when my habits I've been doing for 20 years score 80 on Calley and Casey's book, and my numbers, my metrics fall, for the 5 figures, I fall into the 6.8%. She says so few of us are in. I get corroboration that what I'm doing is good. Corroboration from them. I've got other corroboration, like I mentioned, from a 2018 paper. Even though I'm 61 chronologically, I'm 43 biologically, right? And I don't know if it's true, but I'm just saying, according to that, use their metrics, my blood test, that's what it says. And I'm aging at a rate of 0.22 a year, like barely aging over the last 20 years, right? And I'm just saying, like, I don't know if it's right. Like, I don't know if Calley's right. Those 5 metrics that she gives, and wow, I'm in the 6.8%, not the 93% of fat, sick Americans, right? And I'm just saying, like, yeah. So I'm happy. I'm happy to score well, and I'm happy to learn a few things, like this treadmill I'm on here. I wouldn't have bought this treadmill unless I heard Calley mention it, and how it's just so effortless right here. I'm talking to you, and how many steps did I get? I don't know, a couple thousand steps over this, over this talk. So yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna leave you with this. Get this book. Get this book. I'll put the link in the description. It's in all forms. It's in hardcover, audiobook. Oh, 0.99 cents. With membership. Spiral Bound. What the hell is that? Earn 45 points. I don't know. I got a Kindle for $17, and I'll put the link to it in the description. But I think these kids, here's me living my life, looking out at the world, at the fat, sick Americans, and going, well, I'm an American now too, but I always wondered a little bit, like, me being this healthy, me having these healthy practices, is it because I'm really oppositional? It's because I want to, do whatever the other people are not doing? Well, I'm going to find out soon enough. If Trump wins, these kids address the whole nation, and we start seeing the whole world get as healthy as me, and Americans get as healthy as me, we'll see if I'm still as motivated. Well, maybe I'll start a business, on it too, right? Like, because sometimes habits are hard to change, and I'd love to help other people, develop these freaking habits that she writes in her book that I already have anyway, right? But now I got validation that my habits are good ones, right? Because she's an expert, right? A trustworthy expert. So anyway, that's the end of this video. Get their book. Get their book. It's I doubt you're in the 6.8%. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe you don't have the data like I do. That's it for today, guys. Stay healthy.